Hi, welcome back to our Getting to Know Linux series. This is a fresh install of Linux Mint Tara. So we've got this running on our system right now. I'll go ahead and click the terminal down here, and we'll bring up the install that I just did. This is the only thing that's been installed so far is Kazam. So we went through and I installed Kazam right there, and that's what I'm using to record this. So straight out of the box, it's fully functional. You don't have to make any changes or any kind of weird configurations. This is a fresh install. Okay, so now I've got that going. Let me go ahead and bring up a window here. I'm going to increase the font a little bit so we can be sure to see that. You see we got the transparency enabled there. And I'll do a little inxi-f, and we'll look at the hardware and what we've got running on here, just so you can kind of see what the system's running. Not a state-of-the-art PC. So this is an older, where's the top? Let's see, almost to the top there. You can see this is an older equipment that we're using. So not the absolute top of the line, but it is, it was actually really good back for its day. So I guess back in 2012. But there we go. So this is kind of what we're running right there. And if we want to get some more information, I'm going to go ahead and clear that. I'm going to type lsb release-a. And you can see what we're running right there. It's Linux Mint. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Linux Mint 19.1 Tessa. Yeah, well, there we go. So Linux Mint 19.1 Tessa. I guess 19 was Tara and 19.1 is Tessa. How about that? So we've got that running. And let's go ahead and look at some of the initial configuration options. So we're going to exit out of here. And we're going to exit out of there too. Some of my initial configurations. We'll go over and first go to Settings. So I clicked on the settings icon there. We have a few things here. I'm using a 4K monitor for this display. So the fonts and everything's a little bit small. So I want to increase the size of that. So I'm going to go to font selection here. And down where I've got this text scaling factor, I'm going to take that up to a 1.4. And that 1.4 seems to be a really good scale for me. So I'm going to go back now. So I just went to text scaling factor right there. I took it up to 1.4. I'm leaving everything else the same. It seems to scale really well, so I don't need to really mess with it that much. Backgrounds, if you want to change your backgrounds or choose backgrounds, you can go there. You can also just right-click on the desktop and go down to change your desktop background. So we've got over to themes here. There is a change that I make in themes, and you're going to see that with Windows and themes. And I'm going to go ahead and open up a terminal. So I'm going to press Control-Alt-T and open a terminal. Then I press Control-Alt-T again and open another terminal. If you'll notice, both of the windows overlaid directly on top of each other. That's really annoying. So if I open up another one, then now I've got three windows on top of each other, and that's a pain in the neck. So I really want these cascaded in some way. And okay, that's great. Well, we can cascade those. Another thing is with these, they're transparent. I don't care for the transparency so much. Some people really like that, and that's good. Linux is all about you being you. So however you want to do it, you do it your way. I'll go to Preferences here, and this will give you an idea of where to go to make these changes. I'm going to choose a custom font. I'm going to take it up to a 13. Maybe a 14 there. I'll take it up to a 14. And then for colors, I'm going to uncheck that and go over to green on black. Green on black. And I'm going to uncheck use transparency from system theme. I'll uncheck that right there. The scrolling, everything's fine on scrolling. From the commands, everything's fine on commands. And compatibility, we're fine on compatibility. So I'm going to choose close. Just modify the unnamed profile. Now we've got to another problem. Now that I made this black, I can't tell where one window, so let's say I want to resize this, I can't tell where this window ends and the other one begins. There is absolutely nothing on the edge of these windows. That's a pain in the neck. So let's move these out of the way. Go back over here to themes, where, as we can see, we don't know where one ends and the other begins. We're gonna fix that. So go up to Window Borders, that Mint Y. We're going to choose Mint X. Just like that. By choosing Mint X, we get that nice thin line down the side so we can see where all of the window borders end, which is very helpful. So that really helps when you're trying to resize a window, or you're trying to type, or you're trying to copy some text and you don't want to click into the other window. usually what happens is you have some text there. So I'll just do, let's just do a find. Just do that. So we have the text in there. I want to go over, and you can't see where that line is. So you go a little bit too far to copy the text, and you grab another window. So you can see how that'd be a pain in the neck. So we switch back over. Mint Y, we'll choose Mint Y dark. That gives you a dark top. So over here, get rid of that. There. We're right here. Oh, I want to copy this. I want to copy this text really fast. The window behind it was there, and I couldn't see where the edge was. Well, let's go back over and choose the Mint X, and you can see where the edges are now clearly, so I don't have to worry about going too far when I copy things off the screen. And with Linux, just copying it. So if I just copy it like this, or let's just say just double click that, I can just middle click or choose a 2-finger click right there to paste those onto the screen. So there we go. All right, we've changed that. If you want to add, remove any, go ahead and update it. Sure. If you want to choose any other themes, there are a lot of themes built into it. You can make your own. You can go ahead and just however you want it to design your desktop, you can do that. Under settings, you've got the show icons and menus and show icons on buttons. You can select those if you want to. Now we've done 2 changes. We've changed fonts and we changed the theme a little bit. Accessibility, we'll look into that really fast. You can see a couple of options with accessibility in there. A couple of things with on-screen keyboards and combinations, the mouse, etc. So I'm going to go back off of that. Account details, this is you. So if you want to, pop your picture in there or whatever, it's a fun thing to do. So go ahead and do that. Applets, you can go down and you can pick whatever applets you want to show up. Cache is out of date, yes. It's a brand new install, so the cache is not updated. So we'll have to go through and pull all that in. It's never been used before. Date and time is the next place to make a change. So far we've made a change in font selection, themes, and now we're going to date and time. Under date and time there, I've got the 24-hour clock. I like using that. That helps out a lot. Display the date, and I'm going to choose yes. And when I choose that, in the lower right-hand corner of my screen, it actually tells me what day it is and what the date is, including the time, which I find very useful. So I can just kind of look down there. Displaying the seconds, they don't seem to help me a whole lot, but there you go. There's date and time. Going back now, desklets. Have I ever used desklets? I don't think I've ever used desklets actually. So I know I have some friends who've used desklets, and they just go nuts and they throw all kinds of little desklets all over their desktop. So I don't use those. Might I in the future? Very possibly, maybe, I don't know. Desktop here, so if you click on desktop, then you've got the options that come up. You got trash, you can open that, and your trash will appear on your desktop there. Mounted drives, or you can choose network, and you'll see a little network, you should see a little network icon up here somewhere, over on the desktop. We're not going to choose that. So where was that? I didn't even see that up here. There it is, the folder network. So I get rid of that. Show icons from missing monitors, sure, whatever. Okay. Extensions, so we can go through if you want to install any extensions in your system. Cache is out of date, yes. And you can go through and pull in some extensions if you want to. There are some kind of cool features in there if you want. Oh, there it is. I was about to say if you want to get a desktop cube, that is under the extensions right there. And you can choose a desktop cube, and that way your desktop, well, actually check it out. See what you think. And kind of you can let me know what that does. General settings. You go over and user interface scaling. The choices here are normal or double, which is high DPI. I do not use this. If you choose double or high DPI, what that does is it gives you kind of the 1920 by 1080 view on a 4K monitor. So it's still 4K, but everything is at 1920 by 1080. And that includes when you open up new windows. So that kind of destroys my entire idea of having a 4K monitor there. The 4K monitor allows me to have a lot of work on my desktop at any given time. So moving on over, hot corners is the next place we're going to make a change. And we're going to enable the upper left-hand corner. You see that turns green right there. Now if I go hit the upper left-hand corner, it gives me 4 workspaces. And those workspaces, I can use those at any point in time. It's kind of convenient for me right there. So input methods, I'm not going to mess with that. I'm not going to mess with languages. I'm not going to mess with notifications or online accounts. If you do have an online account, you want to pop that in there, you can. The panel, we'll look at the panel, and this over here for people who like to hide the panel, or if you like to increase the height, you can change the height right there. There's actually something we might want to do in the future with the panel. Instead of it having a little number with the icon and giving that glow over, I'd rather it just appear down at the bottom. That way I can quickly reference what window I'm going to. Preferred applications, of course, that's your preferred app for what you want to open. Privacy is the next place we're going to go. Remember recently accessed files, never forget old files, or you can choose 30 days. Whatever. I like it remembering my recently accessed files so I can always get back to those. So that's a convenient option for me. But you choose whatever you like there if you want to have a list. And that's for all your applications. So if you open up a text editor, so I'll go over really fast and open up, let's say, accessories. We'll go over to text editor, which is Z. If you open this up and you go to File, then it's going to give all of your recent apps right in there. So that's integrated throughout the entire system. It's not just one app. That's throughout your entire Linux system. It will now remember your recently opened files. So if you're using a text editor or using some other kind of application, it will remember. If you want to make it forget, then you just uncheck that. Okay, Screensaver. This is something I'm going to be disabling. So over there, that lock immediately. No, I'm not going to do that. And lock the computer. No, I'm not going to do that either. Lock the computer. Nah. Now, if you have a laptop or if it's your home PC and you're leaving these things around, then it's probably a good idea to lock that thing after a few hours of no use. You can go through and customize these two and say what you want in your Screensaver. I'm going to go back. And startup applications, these are apps that you want to start when you start your system. So when we bring this thing online, those things will start right up. And if you like those, then you can throw in some new things. Like let's say you have Telegram and you're doing Telegram as the messenger. You can throw Telegram in there. Windows here, this is where we're going to fix that problem where every time you open a window, it goes right in the middle of your screen. Of course, now I have to right click and go to New Terminal. And New Terminal, like that. Now, you can always hit Control-Alt-T to open a terminal there. So Control-Alt-T for a new terminal. Now, I just opened a new one, but you can't tell because they're all stacked directly on top of each other. So I want to go through and make that not happen. So I'm going to go to Behavior there. Instead of Center, I'm going to choose Automatic. Now, by choosing automatic, let me go ahead and close all those terminals. Actually, close all. So we're going to get rid of all terminals there. I'm going to open up some new terminals. So I'm going to click over here and press Control-Alt-T. And you'll see it opens up a terminal, and it just automatically pops those in. And they don't go directly on top of the other one. So by not going directly on top, you can always get to the one behind it. And you can kind of see what's going on inside your terminals. Now I'm going to go close all those again. There we go. All right. So flipping back over here, window tiling, you can go through and however you want to make that tiling work, you can do that. You can also increase the width of the sides here. We won't be going into that today. That's more of an advanced feature there. You can change your user environment however you really want to. So dropping down workspaces, you can name your workspaces if you want to. You can make a couple little options there and change their settings, etc. We're not going to play with that too much. Over here we have Bluetooth, color, display, graphics tablet. If you go to your display option, then you'll see that I've got the 4096 by 2160 running right now. I'll probably drop that down to the 3840 to 16 by 9 in the near future. But I'll leave it just like that until I get my drivers installed. So graphics tablet, keyboard, sound, power management, touchpad, mouse, etc. Let's go to power management really fast. I don't want my computer to go to sleep, so I'm going to say never. And then over here for sound, I'm going to choose sound and make sure that it's going to my display port there. And I've got my input coming from my actual adapter there. So that is coming in. Hopefully this is actually recording. So the other thing inside of sound is go to sounds and go down to inserting a device, which is just horrible. This inserting a device and removing a device, that and that are extremely loud. So I'm going to go over here. I'm just going to make that maximize and unmaximize. So I'm going to choose that, maximize. We got that. And then unplug, I'm going to choose unmaximize for that. So we've got those options. So we got that. That way, if you plug in a USB device, it doesn't blow away your speakers. Let's go back over here. System info, that's just information about your system. Now, we've got a few other options down at the bottom here. One is software sources. I'm going to go ahead and click this one and get it started before I go over to drivers. It's going to ask for our passwords or our super secret, whatever the password is that you've got set up for your system. Go ahead and enter that in there. It's got these software sources selected. Go ahead and select that. When you click it, it's going to go out on the internet and it's going to try to find the fastest source for you. So we're going to go ahead and just wait for that thing to come down. As soon as that's done, we're going to go over to the next one and choose that and let it pull the others down. It looks like it's pretty much done it. So let's choose that one. Okay, then we'll go to the next one. And it's going to go down and it's going to try to find the closest one to me. It's going to pull that down for a little bit. So while it's doing that, go back over to System Settings. I'm going to choose Driver Manager. It's going to ask for our password again. So if you have a password, then you can enter your password right there. Up here, it says that that one is getting about 7.4, which is pretty good. So might choose Pit. Give it a second. Yeah, we'll go ahead and choose that one right there. So now we've done that, it's asking, hey, your cache needs to be updated. I'm going to choose OK. So I'm going to let it update the cache over there while I'm looking at this. Now here it's got an Nvidia Corporation GP107 GeForce GTX 1050 Ti. One of the nicer yet less expensive cards. It's not on the extreme high-end list, but I will want to use the Nvidia driver. Now, how do I know I want to use the Nvidia driver? There is something here. So if I go to Control-Alt-T and open up a terminal, you can test the performance of your card before and after you actually get this thing, the driver installed. The tool to use is GL Mark II. Nice. Mark II is the tool you use. It's not installed, so if I press enter, it's going to be like, I don't know what you're talking about. When it says that, it does say, well, if you'd like it, you can just do that and middle click, and after you middle click or two finger click left and right buttons at the same time, it'll go grab it for you. It'll start the whole process. It'll run through it. It takes about 5 minutes. I'm not going to run it right now, but you can go ahead and compare your performance. Well, we'll just go ahead and grab it right now. Fine. You can compare your performance before and after installing the driver. So we can go ahead and grab that thing. Now that I've got it installed, you see that install was pretty fast. And if you have your software sources defined properly, the installs will be very fast. So let's go over here and do that GL Mark II. And I'm going to go ahead and sudo. We'll run it as a user. So as I start that, you can see it's got the little spinning horse there. It's going to do a few more things. And then after that's done, we'll go ahead and choose the Nvidia driver. So we'll get that started. Now this isn't going to be a really, really good test because I'm going to keep working. I'm doing a video record while this is running, but it's going to be pretty close. So let's go ahead and look at the software sources. Now that we've got our cache updated, you can go to those PPAs there. You can add those for things like Mendeley or Skype or some other services out there. You can add some PPAs. Additional repositories, you can choose a CD-ROM, the installation disk, which is, we probably installed this from a USB ISO. I chose an ISO that's burned onto a USB to install it. I don't even have a CD-ROM drive installed, so I can't really use a CD-ROM. But there you go. It thinks it was a CD-ROM, so it says that. You have authentication keys, reader keys there, and then the maintenance. Different little options inside there. So we're going to close software sources. I do want to install this driver, but I don't want to install the driver while it's running the test. So I've got to kind of chill out. So while I'm waiting for this test to finish, let's kind of look at the settings here, what's going on. You'll see this graphics card is coming up, the driver for it is coming up as Nouveau, and it's not coming up as Nvidia. So it is an Nvidia card. We saw that when we first started. We went down, we listed all the specs for our system. We did that INXI, that INXI space dash capital F. You could do a capital F, R, M, X, X, that kind of thing, in which a capital F, lowercase R, M, X, X. And it'll give you a whole lot of information about what's going on in your system. In this case, and we saw there that came up, it's an Nvidia 1050 Ti. Well, in this case, it just tells us this is a Nouveau driver being used. It's not the Nvidia driver. It's not like an Nvidia, well, 390. Yep, there it is. 390 up there. It's not that driver being used. So what's the deal? Well, the Nouveau driver is the driver that it's recognized Nvidia. Linux has built their own open source driver for it, and it will come up. And here's one of the important things. As you see all these frames per second as you look at this, these are really, really low for this graphics card. So even though this isn't the top of the line, it's a good graphics card, and it certainly should give you a lot better than these frames. The frames per second, right there, what you see. So looking at that, when we switch over to the actual Nvidia driver, our performance will go through the roof. It'll be about 10 to 25 probably times faster than it is running on the Nouveau driver. That's for this particular card. Does that work for every card like that? I suspect not. I suspect on the really low-end cards, that would be just maybe a little bit improvement. And then on the really, really high-end cards, I imagine there'd be a really massive improvement. So, your mileage may vary. Go ahead and, try it out however you wish. Let's go on and let's check out a few more options here. One of them is going to be putting new icons down here in your panel. This is actually called a panel down here. So they call that a panel. You'll see the whole panel light up when I do that. And those little icons are the different things that are running right now in your system. Now you can see these are inside of, let's see if I can click one here. Those are actually inside the group windows list. I'm sorry, it's in a subset of your icons. I'm trying to get one to click, but forget it. Those right there are snapped to the panel. So let's go ahead and see if we can do that. So let's go up to accessories. We'll grab something like calculator. I'm always using calculator there. So I'll take calculator, and you see a little arrow up here, and calculator adds to the end there. And I'm going to go down. I'm going to grab text editor. You don't have to worry about pressing control or shift or anything. It's not going to remove it from your menu. It's just going to make another link to it down there. So now I've added a couple of things down there. I've got the, well, what screenshot? I want screenshot. Let's see. I grab that in there. Let's see. I wonder why it's, okay. That screenshot, there's something else, Kazam. I'm going to want Kazam. So I'm going to do a search really fast for Kazam. Grab that. I'll pull that down here. And we'll just pull it and click on right between a couple of those icons. So we're pulling some icons down here. I'm going to rearrange these too as they sit. So I'm going to change their position. It's actually got a good complement. It's got Firefox in the terminal in your folder. So it's got a good complement already. I'm going to clear this off, and we'll see if there's anything else we might want down there. Down that little quick launch. Clicking through here. I'm not seeing anything right now. I think I got the things I usually pick. So, oh, and the recent files, you can see even the recent files that I chose are coming up right here where the unmaximize and maximize. Those are actually showing up even inside the menu. All right, so now I've got these. I'm going to pull that. I always keep my screenshot all the way to the far left, and I keep Kazam right next to that to the far left. I'll be putting OBS down there a little bit later on, but I don't have that installed right now, so it's not useful. Text editor. Nope, there we go. So I got a GL Mark II score of 246. So I'll go ahead and save that. I'll go ahead and make this, and we will. I just highlighted that. I'm going to open up this. Two-finger click or middle click on your mouse. Now that I've got that, I'll save this. And where I save it, right there, I'm going to say this is Nouveau driver.txt. So there we go. So I saved that GL2 mark score right there. Now, as I'm looking at this, I've got this big white window in front of my face, and I don't like that. When you're working on a computer for several hours a day, if you've got this white screen, that's why I make these dark. And you can actually, if you're watching this video, you may actually even be able to tell just from the video. If you're in the black screen there and you switch to the white screen, you'll feel how much this strains your eyes just to see this light colored screen. So a couple of changes I make right off the bat is I pop over to Edit, which most cases in Linux edit is going to be where your preferences are. Go over to edit there. I'm going to display line numbers. That's good. Display the right margin because I want to know where it ends. That's super. Other there, the highlight things tab. I want to use tabs. I don't want to use spaces. And I do want a word wrap, and I don't want to split words over 2 lines. Well, that's great. Let's go over to theme here, and I'm going to choose Cobalt. And as you were watching this video, you may have actually felt your eyes relax when I chose the Cobalt there. It makes it much easier on your eyes, and it works really well. Go back to the editor really fast, and let's see if we've got anything else in there. Yeah, this is use the system fixed width font. I'm going to change that to 14, and take that up to 14 there. Select, and that seems to be a really comfortable size for me right there. So I'm going to choose close. Now I've got that a little dark. It works for me a lot better, so I'm going to close that out. Now over here, I've still got the system settings, and it's saying, hey, there's an Nvidia driver. Do you want to choose that? Now watch what happens when I install an Nvidia driver. So I'll go ahead and put this. We'll put this in the middle of the screen, and I'll kind of launch that right here, the driver manager. So I'm going to apply changes. It's going to have to go grab the Nvidia driver from the web and install that into my system. So we'll have to sit here and wait a second while it goes and does that. But anyway, when I reboot my system, we will have the Nvidia driver installed. I hope that this video has been helpful. It gives you an idea of how to set up your initial desktop environment. Kind of gives you an idea of the settings that I make. And it's something that maybe you'll like, maybe you don't want to use, but that's really about Linux. It's about you. It's how do you want to do it. It's freedom of choice and freedom to make whatever decision that you want to make. So let me go ahead and end this video right now. And when we come back, we'll look at some more in-depth features inside of Linux.